Star Wars fans, episode 6 of the Andor show is here and we are back on track. After episode 5 being a filler episode, we needed something awesome and episode 6 delivered, so let's break it all down right now. What's up guys, Mike, Guy Loves Star Wars here. Today we're breaking down Andor episode 6, and this is a completely different breakdown video from last week with episode 5, where I just crapped all over the show. Now we're getting hyped again because episode 6 was a banger. Now, a lot of predictions I made in our live stream prediction video yesterday did not come true, but that doesn't mean that it was not a good episode. Episode 6 does mark the halfway point through the Andor show, but we still got 6 more episodes. And every Tuesday at 4 p.m. we will be live, and you guys can come in and give your predictions, and I'll give you mine, and we'll just have a blast. But for now, we break down episode 6. Smash like if you loved this episode. Smash like if you hated this episode. Just smash like in general. But tell me in the comments, rank this episode out of 10. What do you give this episode? As always, I'll tell you my ranking after we break down the episode, so let's get right into it. This opens with the rebels on Aldhani. Clem, Cassian Andor, talking with Namek. They're talking about the Empire and how they're just so stupid that they won't even see this attack coming, and they don't even care about rebels at all at this point. It goes to Terramin, who is the Imperial inside man in the Imperial base on Aldhani, and he is talking to his boss, Officer J-Hold, and they're talking about the new facility that they're going to build on Aldhani, and talking about how they'll have to talk to these Aldhani people who are coming to the temple today, because once every 3 years there is this crazy event on Aldhani, the Eye, which is the name of this episode, and they're going to ask the Aldhani people for permission to build this base. Permission. They're going to build it anyway, they just want to do it peacefully. It is a 10-day trip for the Aldhani people to get from where they live to this temple to watch the Eye. And it used to be thousands of the Aldhani people coming to this temple to watch this event happen. This year, it's only 60 people. Because of the Empire being there, the Danis don't want to make the trip because it's right next to the Imperial base. Now we finally get this awesome raid of this Imperial base. It starts with the rebels up on the hill, making sure they have communication. They have this old radio that won't be taken down when they take down the rest of communications at the base. Vel and Cinco go off on their own. They are doing a separate mission, while the guys are dressing up as Imperial guards, walking in like they own the place. The girls are on the opposite side of the Imperial base, which is just a dam, so it's on the water side. They're hiding in a cave while an Imperial officer comes up and pees next to them, which was a little unnecessary. But they get their scuba suits on and they swim on over to that Imperial dam and they climb up the side of it. Vel runs over and places this device that is going to take out the communications later, so that they are the only ones who can communicate to each other and the Empire has no way to call for help. The girls rappel down the front side of the dam to meet the boys at the bottom because Terramin has let them in and they have taken Officer J-Hold hostage with his family. Now they're obviously not going to kill his family, but they make him believe that they're going to kill his family if he doesn't do what they want him to do. They need his handprint to get into the payroll so they can steal the payroll and get the money. Officer Kimsey, who works on top of the dam, the guy who we saw in the last episode, who is kind of in charge of communications, when they lose communications, gets a bunch of guards together, and he knows something's wrong, and starts going down the inside of the base to go see what's going on. Cassian, Vel, and all the other rebels make it to the ship and the payroll where they're going to escape, and they use all of the guards that are around as hostages to load the payroll onto the ship. But just when they're about to leave, Kimsey shows up with that group of soldiers that he had, and a fight breaks out. And a lot like I predicted yesterday, not all the rebels survived this episode, but one of the first to go was Terramin, the guy who worked at this base on Aldhani for 7 years. He was the most integral part to this plan because he's the guy who got them into the base and allowed them to escape. And he allowed them to escape by sacrificing his life for the cause, for the rebellion. Then we get these insanely cool scenes of the troopers getting into the TIE fighters. Now, we've never seen TIE fighters up this close. There's just a whole new world in this Andor show where we get a deeper dive into the smaller cool things of Star Wars, like the TIE fighters, like the rebellion, like the Empire. The Andor show really digs deep into those little things, and it is so cool. When taking off, the payroll is not strapped to the ground, so it rolls back and crushes Namek. Vel and Skeen get the payroll off of him, but Nemec can't feel his legs. Vel stabs him with this injection that makes him wide awake, and because he is the guy who helps Andor get out of there. He's the guy who gives him the calculation, tells him what to do, tells him to climb straight up, tells him to dive straight down. How they're going to get out of this atmosphere with all these crazy asteroids coming by alive, that's Nemec. They need him to escape. You have this awesome scene of the TIE fighters chasing them through the atmosphere, but they obviously don't make it because they don't have Nemec to give them the calculations. They make it out, but Nemec's not looking too hot, and Vel's like, well, let's just leave him to die. And Andor and Skeen are like, no, we can save him. There's a doctor on standby. If somebody got hurt, they had a doctor to go to. So they go to this doctor, and this doctor is Maz Kanata and General Grievous's child. He's not the best doctor because he does not even save Nemec, but outside, while he's trying to save Nemec, Skeen and Andor have this very important conversation. Skeen says, how much credits do you think are in there? And he tells him, it's 80 million credits. And he says, look, I know there's a moon about 9 parsecs from here. We can get there, split up the 80 million, 40-40 each, and go our own ways. We don't have to deal with the rebels anymore, whatever. Cassian's like, what? You were with these people for 5 months planning this attack. You guys were going to split the profits equally. Why are you doing this? And Skeen pretty much just says, I work for myself. I'm a rebel, but I'm a rebel for myself. And Cassian says, what about the story you told me about your brother dying on the farm due to the Empire? And he says, I never had a brother. And Cassian's like, okay, you're just the worst ever, so I'm going to kill you now. And he shoots him. And this is not good because Andor goes into Dr. Grievous's office where Nemec is now dead and Vel is now pissed because she's like, where is Skeen? He tries to explain to her that he said this deal. We're going to split it 50-50. We're going to screw everybody else. And she said that's not him. He would never do that. And Andor says, look, just give me a ship. I'll take my share and I'll be out of here. You guys can take the rest. Do whatever you want with it. And here, you can even take the kyber crystal that Luthen gave me. Give it back to him. I don't want it. Vel agrees. She says, okay, but at least take Nemec's manifesto. She says this is the last thing that he requested before he died, that you must have this. And Andor, of course, takes it. And it cuts to Coruscant, where we see Lieutenant Marrow getting called into the office because of this rebel attack on Aldhani. And it cuts to Mon Mothma, who is talking in the Senate building, and she gets interrupted due to the same thing, the rebel attack on Aldhani. To end the whole episode, Luthen is in his gallery where somebody asks for something from Aldhani, and he says, why? He said, you didn't see the news? It's all over the news. There was a rebel attack on Aldhani. Luthen goes in the back room, starts laughing like the Joker, and exhales because they did it. The mission is complete. They succeeded. And roll the credits. Episode 6 was 1,000 times better than Episode 5. We are back on track with the Andor show, and I'm getting very excited to see where the next 6 episodes go because this mission is over. What is next for Cassian? He is leaving the rebellion yet again to probably be dragged back in by Luthen yet again. I would not say that this mission was a success. They lost more than half of the people they went in with. It was a success for the rebels, but again, a lot of them did end up dying. So it was a success for the cause, but not a success for the people who died. All in all, a very solid episode. If I were to give it a ranking out of 10, I would probably give it an 8.5 out of 10. The visual scenes of the eye were awesome. The TIE fighter scenes, perfect. This show visually is spectacular. It's a lot like Rogue One, where all of the fight scenes and the visuals are just stunning. But the reason I'm not giving it a 9, 9.5, even a 10, is because it's a very slow show. Now, obviously, it is the Andor show. It's a spin-off of a spin-off movie, so not a lot is really going on. So they do have to drag it out. But it is the beginning of the rebellion. It is the peak of the Empire, so it is a very fun time in Star Wars. So tell me in the comments what you thought about the episode. Rank it out of 10 if you haven't yet. I think we're back on track because I think we're back on track. We got 6 more episodes of this show, 6 more breakdown videos, 6 more prediction videos, 6 more weeks of getting hyped. So get hyped with me. Hit that subscribe, stick around, smash like, do all that fun stuff so that you stick around, see my pretty face in your recommended feed, and we have a lot of fun as Star Wars fans together. And if you want to talk Star Wars with some Star Wars nerdy people, there is a link in the description below to a Discord called The People Who Love Star Wars. And may the Force be with you. Always.